What's going on? It is time for another Saturday of college football. Main slate for DraftKings. I'll be breaking it down for you, not giving you picks and plays, just updating you on all the injury news, trying to help you get a little bit better at the process and, try to make college football DFS more playable. But maybe I shouldn't want that. Maybe I just want all the smart people to stay the hell out of it. Maybe that's what I want. What's up, new guy? I'm Degenerate75. I'm a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at college football DFS. I also do golf and NFL. So if you find you like the cut of my jib, come check out that schedule right there. I do this show every Friday. I do my NFL shows on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And, of course, I do the live stream for golf every Wednesday. Come check it out. And if you've never tried PGA DFS, just know you don't know what you're missing, big guy. We're going to get going. Not a lot of time. We got to get going. Is it 4:20? Look at the time right there. Hold on. Right there. Look at that time. 4:20. Let's get high on some college football. All right. As always, we'll start with contest selection, man. I'm just going to tell you, the best thing I can tell you is just, look how good the payout structure is. You want to play some GPPs, which, by the way, GPPs, that's guaranteed prize pools. That's where you can get in there and win bigger prizes up top. But so often it's a losing proposition. And college football is already hard enough, and then you're going to go try to play GPPs on top of it. I don't always love it. So if you want to play some GPP, try playing a smaller amounts. Try something entering something you can max enter, like this $4.20 max. For $80, you can max enter this. You have a really good price structure, and it's so much more sustainable, right? When you go toss $20 in this, now you're in for $400, right? And so much of that $250,000 prize pool goes to the top 10. You're just in a negative EV play, and if you're trying to preserve your bankroll, this is not the place you want to do it. What I will tell you and what I always tell you is get in sustainable, smaller GPPs, but more than that, I really encourage you to go play head-to-heads, go play double-ups and 50-50s, and quit trying to do these super cute plays and just simply go get the best players, all right? I'm going to say it forever. It is how you can have fun with college football DFS, maybe win a few bucks out of it, but more than that, not burn through all your money and be done with this shit by November 1st before your wife sees the credit card statement, okay? So that is my advice to you. We're not going to dive in there. You should know by now all my rules about what I feel on contest selection, all right? But of course, the one GPP you should definitely get in is mine, the $5 3 max. It is reduced rate, it is a flat payout structure, and it helps grow the community. Go hop in there. Link is in the description. We only have 150 spots, so go fill it up quick. As you can see last week, our dude Mac Daddy 1222 just boat racing some motherfathers for the win. Congratulations to you and all of our others. Couple guys flying the flag in the top 5. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. I will tell you, before we get over to going over the games, guys, you have got to get projections that you can count on, right? You see right there, Degenerate75, those are my projections, my ownership. Everything is loaded in there, not only for the main slate, but for the night slate, for FanDuel, everything you need. If you don't have reliable projections at college football, maybe more than any other DFS sport out there, just know you're screwed, okay? Because this is a very hard sport to get through all of the noise and all of the crap and all of the players and all of the teams. You got to have somebody that you can count on for reliable projections. And let me just go ahead and tell you, me and my team, we some real sweaty tryhards, and we have the best projections you can have out there because we just do this for like 3 straight days. Oh, this guy's gonna be out. We need to go tweak some projections. That's us. That's what we do for you, and we put them all right here on the solver, the best optimizer out there, because you can have great projections, but if you don't have an optimizer to put it in the best versions of that player pool, it doesn't really matter, does it? So if you want my projections and you want access to the solver, simply sign up using my little showdown hoedown symbol right here. Sign up, and it can be as cheap as $24.99 a month, and that's not only the optimizer, that's with all my projections loaded in there. I highly encourage you to try it. It will change your game, and if you're like, well, I only make one lineup a week, well, it'll help you make the best version of that. I highly encourage you to try it. It has paid big dividends for me this year. All right, this is the Rosetta Stone. This is what I offer all of my members over on my site at Degen75. I do this for PGA, NFL, and, of course, college football. You can see theirs is all fancy and colored up with projections and leverage and ownership and all of that, but this is the YouTube version, so we'll be looking at this one. But I will go over all the major things you need to know so you don't step on your dick tomorrow and put in lineups that are already dead before kickoff at 11 a.m. in the Lord's time zone, okay? First game is my Sooners. I should have plugged in my Boomer Sooner sounds, but I don't have it plugged in, so you're just going to have to listen to me do it, pal. Central Florida is going to Norman. Central Florida has they're 0-3 in the Big 12. They're not looking good. OU just came off the big win at Texas. They're going to boat race, and this game's not even going to be close. or it could. This is letdown city spot for OU, right? I think people are going to just go and assume OU is going to absolutely boat race UCF, but this game just kind of reeks of that SMU-OU game earlier in this year, where I think OU might just kind of go through the motions a little bit in this game. I think UCF is going to come out and be surprisingly more efficient than people are expecting them to be, and I could see this game sneaky being closer than people think, but more than that, I'm not sure that OU is just going to boat race like everybody is assuming. This is a perfect letdown spot. A guy like Dillon Gabriel is one of the best price-adjusted plays on this slate, but I don't know that he is absolutely a free square in this trap spot, right? Just beware of that. The running back situation appears as though Javonte Barnes is out, so Tawee Walker and Marcus Major are going to be getting the lion's share of the work, but Gavin Sawchuk's also going to be mixing in there. I just hate trying to play the OU running back roulette. But, of course, for OU, the biggest news is Andrel Anthony is out, and with him being out, who has been the number one wide receiver for my Sooners this year, this opens up a lot of value, and I think the people that stand to benefit the most from this are Nick Anderson and Jaden Gibson. Sure, Drake Stoops and Jalil Farouk are probably going to get a bump too, but they were guys that were already on the field. I think you're going to see a lot more Nick Anderson and Jaden Gibson, so if you do want to run Dillon Gabriel stacks tomorrow, maybe those can be some lower-owned pieces that you could stack with him, right? For UCF, Plumlee is expecting to play. There is a chance he could get a setback, but as of right now, Mr. Plumlee is going to be playing. The running back situation, Harvey has just not been that lead back we want, but he is getting roughly 16 touches a game, and at $6,400 for a team that runs the ball exceptionally well, which UFC does. I believe they're third in the nation in rushing. I think he's at least viable in GPPs. And a wide receiver, basically only three guys you're considering there: Baker, Hudson, and Townsend. If you think that UCF can keep up with OU and OU's going to shoot out, this could be a very sneaky game to get into. But to me, this seems more like a 27-21 game, and OU just squeaks by type game. Just my feeling. I have emotional trauma, though. Getting over to Mississippi State, Arkansas, I think the big news here is it does appear as though Will Rogers is trending towards being out. And with him out, Mike Wright, who I believe is the Vanderbilt transfer, is going to be in there. Much more of a dual threat quarterback, not a statue like Will Rogers. I think with him being so cheap, he probably is almost cash viable at $5,200 and his rushing upside. The other big injury news to watch is Jaquavius Marks. If he's going to be out, that probably opens up some value for Pittman and Davis. But, this is college football injuries. We're not going to know shit, right? I do want to tell you guys like Griffin who are getting 6 targets a game. I don't think that Mike Wright is going to probably increase their value. He probably decreases. Will Rogers is much more of a pocket passing quarterback. Over for Arkansas, they've just, they haven't been great this year, but KJ Jefferson's just always a dude you can consider. He gets so much done with his legs, and they have enough of a passing game and a 28-point total. I think KJ Jefferson's a dude that you basically can just slot in for 22 points this week, right? That's like minimum. He'll get somewhere probably between 22 and 28. He offers you a very safe floor, and that can be really nice, especially if you're playing cash. At running back, Raheem Rocket Sanders is out, so I expect old Dubon, or Dubunyon is that's how I read his name, Dubunyon, I think is going to probably get the lion's share of the work with A.J. Green rotating in. Andrew Armstrong is one of the better price-adjusted wide receivers on the slate at just $6,000 getting, he's definitely their number one receiver. He is getting 7 targets. More than that, he gets a lot of red zone targets, which are valuable. So this game, I'm a little worried about, is Mike Wright really going to be able to push the pace on Arkansas? Are they really going to be able to get this to a 28, 35-point game? I doubt it. But if they do, Arkansas has a very concentrated offense with Jefferson, Dubunyon, and Armstrong. I guess Tesla to a lesser extent. Moving on to Ohio State and Penn State, this game just reeks of slog. I think we got to start with the injuries. We have no idea what's going on with the Ohio State running backs. Henderson, Terrarium, and Williams all are questionable, right? I would have guessed that Henderson plays in a game this big, but man, what is going to be his, is he going to be 100%? I highly doubt it. He strikes me as a guy that's going to try to go out there and gut it out at 80 or 90%. Penn State has been solid against the run. I think the other big news is Ibuka is now likely doubtful, and with him being out, I think that you can give a little bit of that to Harrison, but more than that, I think it opens up some value for guys like Fleming and Tate to get on the field more. For Penn State, I just never play the guys in college football DFS, and it does me pretty well. If you force me to play somebody, I think you could try to guess that Singleton's probably going to be the stud here with Allen right behind him. Lambert Smith does get all of the passing work, it seems like, but they can barely throw a forward pass at Penn State. This just strikes me as a sloggy, boring game that with so many guys in this guy's game being priced up, I think I'd rather just go to the more shootout games with cheaper options. Moving on from there, we have Memphis UAB. There's two major injuries that like slate-changing injuries in this game because this is honestly one of the more appealing games on the slate. Might be my favorite game on the slate, but with this injury news, I think we're going to have to demote it. Blake Watson is just a true 50-50. We have not got word if he's going to play. If he is going to play, he is almost certainly one of the three best running back plays on this slate. He has an unbelievable role with Memphis. But to me, the more concerning news is over with UAB. Zeno is now trending towards not playing, and that's a big deal because UAB is a 2-5 team that's struggling, and they're already not great. And now you're going to take away their quarterback. I don't like it, right? I really don't like their ability to keep up with a very good Memphis team without their quarterback, right? Zeno, the old transfer from Baylor. For Memphis, I think that if Zeno does play, it gives a lot more value to guys like Hennigan and Rock Taylor and Blankesmee because these guys need to be pushed. For all these guys to pay off their value, they're going to need to get to that 35 or 42 point total. But if UAB is without their starting quarterback, you got to ask yourself, is Memphis just going to go plain and not really push the pace of this game? And not to mention how much it hurts the UAB receivers. Amari Thomas, one of the best price-adjusted plays on this slate. If he doesn't have a starting quarterback, is he really that viable with a backup in there? I don't know a lot about UAB's backup. I'm going to be quite honest with you, but I'm going to guarantee you he probably is not Trevor Lawrence, okay? That's probably who he's not. Jermaine Brown is a good running back who gets a ton of action out of the backfield for UAB. He is a viable play, but once again, if they're without their quarterback, how efficient is their run game going to be? So I'd really be watching the Zeno news. To me, it might be the biggest injury news on the slate to keep an eye on because of the ripple effect it has through all the other games. From there, Air Force Navy, I don't know what the hell DraftKings is doing putting this game on the slate. There's other games that they left off the slate to put this one on there. I guess we're all feeling patriotic as shit or something. But don't ignore this game, right? We have possible Jensen Jones is starting for Air Force. He is not their normal starter. Navy starting quarterback is also likely to be out, so we're going to have some weird backup quarterbacks running this game, but don't get it confused that there's no value in this game. Emmanuel Michel at 5,800 is just a misprice. He's a guy that will almost certainly get 20-plus touches. He gets all the goal line carries. He's basically their offenses give him the ball or play or fake giving him the ball and then run it. It's like every play. He's basically like a quarterback at running back. It's almost like he touches the ball every play. 5,800 with a team that's going to run the ball probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 times. You got to imagine he is going to, at worst, get 20 and probably has upside for 30 carries in this game. You got to like him there. As for Navy, with only a 12-point total, I'm not really lining up to play any of them, especially I think Air Force is a legit team this year, and I think they're probably going to shut Navy down pretty well. Let's go get some action in our life. Western Michigan and Ohio. Western Michigan, we don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be right now. Wolf seems to be trending towards being hurt, which makes old Bourgois probably the starter. I think Buckley at running back gets a lot of touches, and at $5,000, 19 touches, there's worse things you could do there. But you do have to ask yourself, if they're 16-point dogs, do we really think Western Michigan can push the pace of this game enough to get him the work? Wide receiver, if you made me pick somebody from Western Michigan, I don't love my wide receivers that be in there when they have a backup quarterback, but Womack getting 6.9 targets, nice, isn't a bad option. Ohio is going to be one of the more popular teams on the slate. Curtis Rourke is vastly underpriced with his team's total. You can see they have a 35-point total. He's a guy that runs the ball. He passes the ball. They have a solid offense. I think you can just plug him in for 17 points. Maybe you get lucky. He gets you 25. I don't love him for GPPs, but I think he's a great cash game foundation piece. We continue to see Bangora and Allison split work out of the backfield, and with their salaries, it makes it hard to play either one of them. So to me, I'm out on those guys. There's just so many good running backs on this slate to be trying to guess who's going to go off for Ohio. And then the wide receiver situation, Wigloose, still a target monster this year, but Miles Cross is the bigger target, or not the more valuable target, guys. He gets the big down the field passes. Wigloose is more of a possession receiver. I think both of those guys are viable. I don't know that I love double stacking those guys with Rourke, as Rourke's just usually not a guy that's going to get two wide receivers there, but I think you could pick either one of those and hope one of them goes off, and that could often get you there. My Cowboys go play. Hey, Oklahoma, I know I'm an OU fan. Oklahoma State's my favorite team. Eat a bag of dicks if you can't handle it. I am OSU alumni, okay? I don't want to brag. Oklahoma State is a team that seems to be trending in the right direction, coming off two big wins. Alan Bowman seems like a serviceable quarterback. He's not the first guy I think of for DFS, but he does seem solid. Ollie Gordon just with a smooth 52-point performance last week. We got to assume that he is going to continue to be the focal point of that offense, but I'm going to warn you, West Virginia's playing some defense this year, and you get them rednecks at 2:30 on the afternoon, let them get all liquored up, they're going to be wild. And not the best game environment. Don't forget about Rashad Owens, everybody's favorite donkey chalk who got there there last week. I believe he had 427 targets. And then Braylon Presley is obviously the number one wide receiver there. But those are the two guys that are probably the best to play if you're looking for wide receiver options for OK State. West Virginia, Garrett Green, I mean, the guy can run the ball, right? And he offers a pretty big floor when you run the ball like that. But $7,800 for Garrett Green, I don't know. That's making me a little Garrett Yellow. So I don't know if I can get there, but I'll tell you in GPPs, he's got to be on your radar. Running back CJ Donaldson definitely has the backfield to himself. He is leading it. And at home in a script where they're likely to be ahead, I don't mind him. And if you do want to just stack, I would not double stack Garrett Green, but if you want to skinny stack, which means stack him with one guy, I like Carter or Taylor is the guys who are probably going to get the most targets from him. Moving on to probably my favorite game on the slate, I think a lot of people are just going to assume that Oregon is going to beat the brakes off of Washington State. Washington State got absolutely embarrassed last week against Arizona and didn't do shit. Oregon loses the heartbreaker to Washington. Everybody's assuming they're going to be pissed off. They're at home. Washington State's a fraud. All of these things are adding up, but just know this is college football and nothing is ever as it seems. I could see Washington State keeping this game competitive. If they keep this game competitive, it will largely be on the back of Cameron Ward playing well. He has three really good receivers. Lincoln Victor is back, but Kyle Williams and Josh Kelly have both also asserted themselves as legitimate wide receivers. So if Washington State gets going, they have tons of options and become a very nice run back piece to Oregon because Oregon is just, I mean, they have a huge total of 40 points. They're at home and they have a team that like they're probably going to try to hang 42, 49 points on, right? Bo Nix is awesome, but if $9,800 is not the easiest guy to get in your cash lineup, I absolutely love him for GPPs as he always has 50-point upside. But to me, the best play for Oregon is definitely Bucky Irving. With Whittington continuing to be out, Bucky Irving's role has been incredible. He gets such high valuable touches, and honestly, the guy's just effing good. He's just good. He should be 8,700, and they have him at 75. He's almost a free play. Troy Franklin is a usage monster. You can see he's getting almost 9 targets a game, but he gets those valuable down the field targets also. So Troy Franklin at 8,200, I'd also would try to find room to get him in there in your lineups when you can. If you need a cheaper option, good luck trying to pick the other Oregon wide receivers. If you made me pick, I would pick Tez Johnson, but he's 5,700, so that's really not even a great pay down option. Moving over to Tennessee and Alabama, I think that this game just reeks of slog. Both of these teams struggle to just complete normal passes. Their offenses run the ball or chunk it over the top as far as you can, okay? Not the most efficient. Joe Milton is no naked hooker like they had last year. I think Jalen Wright is viable as much as they run the ball, but do you really want to run a running back for Tennessee at Alabama? Not what I'm lining up to do, Bob. Squirrel White absolutely screwed me over last week. Him and Ramel Keaton are basically the only two guys that are getting targets right now, but their offense just ain't good. They can barely pass the ball, so I'm out on them. If I'm going to pay up in the 5,000s for wide receivers, I can name about 6 other guys I'd rather get to. Going over to Bama, Jalen Milroe, I mean, he does offer a nice floor with his legs, but at $8,400, he's the furthest thing from a free square. The running back situation, Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams continue to lead this, with Jace McClellan leading the pair of those two. But, man, they're just so inefficient. They just don't get it done. And then you have Milroe constantly down on the goal line pilfering touchdowns. It just makes it very hard to play Alabama running backs, which is weird because I've always loved playing Alabama running backs at college football DFS. We've seen Jermaine Burton has the ability to be a home run hitter at the wide receiver spot, but, man, it's so hard to trust any of these wide receivers. Basically, if they don't catch a bomb, they don't get there. Just go look at every good Alabama wide receiver game this year. It's almost been they catch a bomb or they don't do shit. That's basically their team. Moving on to a sloggy-ass Big Ten game, Wisconsin and Illinois. Wisconsin is without Tanner Mordecai, so it looks like Braden Locke is going to start. 22-point total. I'm not dying to get him. I will tell you, Braylon Allen at 7,700 is a little pricey, but, man, who's left? They have nobody else left to run the ball, so you got to imagine he could be in line for 25 to 30 touches. And, yes, he has not been wildly efficient at running the ball, but he does get some passes out of the backfield, and he does have a nose for the end zone. So if you think Wisconsin's going to control this game, which, by the way, Illinois ain't no punks against the run, I think that Braylon Allen can be a very good option. It's hard to get to him in cash. I'd just rather spend my $7,000 on somebody else. But, man, I think that he has 40-point upside if he's going to get 30 touches. And in GPPs, you want to be warm to that. I don't ever consider Wisconsin wide receivers. I consider how much I'm going to fade them. If you made me play one, I would play Will Pauling, but I don't love any of them. Illinois, on the other hand, they have some value, all right? Altmaier's always like kind of whatever. I think he's going to get you 16 to 18 points, which is almost 3 extra value, which is solid. But the bigger news for me is that Reggie Love III is still out, and Degen stands to be the benefactor of this. He was pretty solid last week as a punt option. I think that he's also a punt option this week, both in cash and GPPs. It's not like Illinois is likely to get blown out in this game. You can see we have a very competitive total of only a 2.5 point line. And if he's going to be involved in the game, you're going to need to probably punt somewhere. There's probably worse places to punt than old Caden Degen. At wide receiver, just know it's just Isaiah Williams, right? That's who they have, and then they have a bunch of slapdicks. He did not have the greatest week last week, and he still managed a solid game. The guy just has such an incredible floor. He is a good option for cash, and he is a good option. Even if this game's sloggy, he'll still get 9. He'll still get 9 targets for at least 8 catches. Mark my words. And if you thought that game was icky, let me just give you the ickiest game of all time. I don't even know why they put games like this on the slate. DraftKings, if you're going to put Minnesota and Iowa on the slate, at least put defenses on the slate so we can get some points in these games, right? Just an insane 31-point total, disgustingly low. This is some of the best advice I could ever give you as a guy that plays a lot of college football DFS and has had a relative amount of success with it. Just take a big black marker and put an X through this game. Just don't play anybody from it. If you really want just a disgusting punt, don't forget Eric All, the tight end for Iowa, is out. And we know Iowa, more than any team in the country, loves to throw to a tight end. If you want an absolute disgusting punt, Steven Stelanios? I don't even know how to say his name. That's how important the guy is to me. But I do think he is in line to be their starting tight end. The starting tight end at Iowa usually guarantees at least 5 targets. Okay, and they're tight ends. So he probably gets 4 catches for 40 yards, right? Which is a monster game from an Iowa player. And then lastly, without question, the chalkiest game on the slate, this Houston-Texas game. If Houston can keep this close, which they will be at home, this game could just go off, right? Houston is a team that plays not a lick of defense, right? And they play fast on offense. Those are 2 really good things to scoring a lot of points, right? We'll start with Houston. If they can keep it close, Donovan Smith is wildly overpriced, but could be good in a game stack. The running backs are basically unplayable for Houston, as they have the biggest running back by committee maybe on this slate. And I think that Brown, Golden, and to a little less extent, Manjack are all viable run back options. But to me, the real value on this slate, the one team that I would bet is just going to cook, is going to be Texas. I think there's legitimately 6 options I would consider from Texas. Even a loser like Quinn Ewers is going to manage to get 25 points in this game, right? I will warn you, he's 8,600. And my note that I always have written down here, I always remind myself every week, Quinn Ewers sucks at college football DFS. It's on the pad. You can't make that up. Jonathan Brooks is just in an absolute smash spot here. $7,400 is underpriced. He should be $8,400 on the slate. He is definitely leading the backfield. Yes, CJ Baxter will probably be more involved, but I think that's largely just because Texas is going to beat the brakes off of Houston. So I think both of them are probably going to get 15-plus touches. I think both of them are probably viable plays, but I never like to play backup running backs in my cash lineup. Maybe in a GPP, but definitely not my cash lineup. I'm taking the Brooks all day. At wide receiver, Xavier Worthy just seems like a man who's due for that 40-point breakout game, but you cannot forget about Mitchell, who the Georgia transfer, who's just continuing to pick up and may have actually passed Xavier Worthy as the number 1 wide receiver on that team. I actually think he's better, but I think Worthy gets more down the field targets. And then if you think Jatavion Sanders is back from his injury, or my Sooners busting the fucking soul out of him, well, then I think he's viable at 4,900. We know how talented he is, and we know how involved he is in that offense. So that is a lot of options to consider from Texas with that big-ass total on the road, playing a team that doesn't play any defense, and if you're lucky, may get to 28 points and push the Longhorns to get to 42, 48, or 42 or 49. If they get to that, these Texas player stats are going to be off the chain, because honestly, most of them are underpriced except for Quinn Ewers, because he sucks. There you go. That is a breakdown of the slate. If you want to see more, I encourage you to come over to the site, degen75.com. There's got to be a place out there where you can get really good projections, a really great community, and, have winners. It's not about me winning. I do just fine at DFS. It's about all these guys. We had 18 GPP winners last week. Absolutely incredible. We celebrate the wins in our community. We're all about trying to make DFS fun, sustainable, and if you do it right and have a good process, you can win at it. We also have the best tool out there called the Rosetta Stone, which has every single thing you need to know. Oh shit, this is actually this week's. Look at that. You're getting a free screenshot of one game, so you can actually see what we have on there. If you want to try all this out but you're reluctant to pay, well, just know, first of all, we have packages as low as $5, right? Because you don't need to be price gouged, or just simply go sign up for my newsletter, which is in the description of this. Let the support Degen75 on Twitter know, and they'll get you hooked up with a free week on the site, okay? Last thing I want you to know is I want you to also know that if you're ever want to meet me, me and Tambo are meeting up with everybody at the Waste Management. If you're interested in going, we will be there the 8th through the 12th, which is actually Super Bowl Sunday. So reach out to me. Let me know. I want to get an idea of how many people are trying to come. We're probably going to try to get accommodations for everybody. So let me know. Guys, this has been real. This was the stone I was supposed to show you from last week. Oh, no, this is this week's. There we go. Oh, wait, I have it up twice. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. It's been real, guys. Enjoy a sneak peek of the real stone. I will talk to you later, but not before you enjoy this outro.